Okay, recording in progress. Okay. We are going to be starting off with XAUUSD, right? Uh, we are going to be starting off with XAUUSD daily time frame. Let's see what's going on the daily time frame. So on the daily time frame, okay, we still have our break of structure over here, right? And we are in the pullback phase, like I said earlier. Now, what price is currently doing is the pullback phase. So we are expecting price to at least come up high, take out liquidity above a structural high, right? Why we consider this point as a liquidity point is because we have a break of, sorry, we have this, right, and price broke structure. Now this point has also broken structure on the lower time frame, so we have liquidity above. That's why we consider this point as a liquidity point. So we expect price to come and take out that liquidity, give us a structure shift, then continue in the direction. That's basically the model I trade. I trade liquidity sweeps of POIs and the POI itself sometimes, but most of the time it's liquidity sweeps of the POI. So currently we're expecting price to push up, take out this high, then go lower. So on the 4-hour time frame, you can see that's happening, right? Price has been bullish for a while. We have come down, oh, we have come down to take out liquidity behind the structural point. We had that I think yesterday evening before market close. We came down to take out the liquidity behind the structural low, and that has given us a very strong reaction this morning. Wait guys, let me check something. I was in a trade on gold. I think it's moving very quite well. Okay, so price has swept liquidity of this POI, and that gave us a reaction, but you can see we have a rejection block over here, rejection candle. Sorry, we have a rejection candle over here, and yeah, we are continuing higher. So how I actually entered my trade, I don't have the position tool on because it was around midnight when I took that trade. When I entered the position, it was around dawn, I think around 3 o'clock that side. When this move happened, that's when I entered. I think I'm in around this level. Yeah. So after the sweep of liquidity, right, we had, you can see we are having bearish structure leading to that point. Price has been bearish leading to that point, and after we swept that liquidity, right, we had the market structure shift which came to take out the liquidity above this high, and then we had a fair value gap situated right below it. So after price swept the liquidity, you can see the reaction. After price sweeps liquidity, the reaction has to be very strong, right, because that's the major catalyst for the move. But after we swept the liquidity, we had very corrective price action leading into the fair value gap, and then we had an immediate reaction, right, the strong bullish candlestick confirming that the fair value gap is going to hold, and all this is just liquidity being built up and swept for the move to the upside. So let's remove everything off the chart first. So yeah, so after price swept liquidity above this high around yesterday's close, right, I dropped down to the 15 minutes and I was watching for when momentum will kick in the chart. Now you can see on the 15 minutes before the break of structure, right, we had this small demand zone over here. Price came into that demand, right, gave off a reaction and then filled and took out the low of the demand. So that's considered liquidity, right? And we had price hold again for another move. And then this morning, right, around the time I told you about, let's check it. Okay, so it was around 5 a.m. Okay, so we had a supply order block over here, right? Normally when there are two bullish candlesticks and then the bearish candlesticks engulfs them, your order block has to be the last two, right? So price pushed into the demand order block, the supply order block, sorry. Let me use this instead of the brush. Price pushed into the supply order block and then give off a small reaction. So you can see over here we have this, right? Price pushed into the order block, give us a small reaction and then broke structure again over here. So that was what made me take my entry. And when you look on the 1 hour time frame too, the candle closed as a very strong bullish momentum candle. So I was expecting it to continue at least all the way to this high. So currently I'm still in this position. I'm expecting it to continue all the way to this high. Potentially we can go all the way up here, but I think that will be next week because today is Thursday. And yeah, I doubt we can have that whole move, this whole move today. I doubt we can have this whole move today, but it's good. So let's see. We are talking about gold here. Gold can do it. So yeah, price pushed into the supply zone, gave us a reaction and then closed out bullish, meaning the supply zone has failed because we have had a failed reaction. Price has reacted from the supply and then failed. So this is something like this, right? We had a failed reaction over here. Note the failed reaction is only when price closes above the high, after it has reacted from it. If it leaves a wick or anything, if your wick is the high, that's a liquidity sweep. That's not a failed reaction. A failed reaction is when the price closes above that level. So failed reaction, yeah. So after the failed reaction, I just took my entry long. Over here like this, you can see this is this candle. It's not a failed reaction, right? Because it closed with a wick. So you expect to see the next candle form, right? And the next candle is here. So that's why I took my entry with my stop loss below the failed reaction, and then my target at the next. I expect this high to get taken out because I expect the trend to continue bullish, not bearish. But we have a supply order block over here blocking our path, an obstacle. So let's see. I expect gold to do it. Actually, I'm going to have two positions. So I'm going to hold one and then close out the other one on market close. I'm going to hold to the overall swing target. Yeah, so that's it for gold. If you have any question, you can ask. Let me check the questions. No question. Okay, so if there are no questions, then we are going to moving on to EURUSD. I just hope you guys can hear me. I don't know. I think, yeah, I think you can hear me. Yeah. So let's move on to EURUSD. So EURUSD, yeah, this is the position I'm currently in on right now. It's moving quite a bit slow, but let's explain the chart. So EURUSD daily time frame. What do we have? Okay, so price has taken out a low over here, liquidity low over here, and that's what's giving us this reaction. But already we have had a break of structure over here. So after a break of structure, what do you expect? You expect a pullback, right? So break of structure, pullback, sweep liquidity above a structural high, then you get a continuation. That's my model. So currently we are in the pullback phase. Okay, so that's on the daily. We are in the pullback phase on the daily. You keep that in mind. when you come down to the 4 hour, we are also in the pullback phase. This is the break of structure, right? Price just dropped lower, and now we are having the pullback phase. So whatever happens, we know this high must go, right? Because price has already given us a change of character on the lower time frame. We already expect this high to and maybe come for this liquidity point and this liquidity point. The liquidity points are just highs and lows, old highs and lows, right? Above every old high, we have liquidity. Above every old high, we have liquidity. Sure. So 4 hour, we are in the pullback phase. So break of structure to the upside. Price has retraced, and we are getting our continuation. Now note that the continuation doesn't have to be straight like this, right? You can have it go up, come down, do a lot of stuff inside, go up, come down, do a lot of stuff before you take out the high. But ultimately, the high must be taken. So 1 hour time frame, that's where everything comes down. You can see we have our 4 hour break of structure over here, and inside the break of structure, right, we have our structural liquidity point, which is this level, right? Now what did price do? Price came and took out our structural liquidity low, and what did that do? That gave us the reaction for us to change character on the lower time frame and then continue higher. So you can see the model playing out over here, right? Everything to perfection. Nothing changes. It's the same on all time frame. You can see over here during the break of structure, what do we have? Structural liquidity. What did price do when it came up? It came up to take out the structural high, then it dumped, right? So without liquidity to follow the move, you won't really get a quick reaction. You get, if you have an order block and then you just trade off order blocks, you just get small reactions, and then you just eventually get stopped out, and then you see price go out in your direction because it wants the liquidity behind the order block high, right, before it actually makes it move. So if you can wait for that, always, it will be very good for you. So yeah, after the liquidity sweep over here, we had our change of character over here. That's this blue line over here. Let me zoom in. You can see we had a sweep of liquidity, market structure shift over here, right? That's where we had our change of character, and we had a fair value gap right above that, right? You can see first candle, second candle, third candle, the gap inside. We had our fair value gap, and that was what held the market during the Asia session, right? Price came in to the fair value gap and then gave off the reaction to the upside. So when I got up, I think price was around this level. At the time I took the trade, right, price was around this level over here. So why I actually entered the trade, we had a break of structure. Okay, I think on the lower time frame scalar. No, okay. We had a break of structure over here. Wow, my broker feed actually changed. Okay, let's see. Price never took out that high. I thought it took out the high, so I actually entered the trade. But anyways, we had a break of structure over here, right, and we retraced all the way back down to this other block. Sorry, rejection block. Sorry, we retraced into the rejection block, and that was what fueled the move to the upside, right? But I think I entered prematurely after price just took out this high over here. That's why my entry is all the way up here. And right now we had a sweep over here. sweep of liquidity over here, right? That followed the move to take out this high over here. Price came into the order block, the demand order block, then pushed higher. Currently price has taken out a structural liquidity point, right? And that's what has led to the pullback, and it's looking to stop me out at break-even bar. Let's see. We have this 15 minutes demand order block over here, so what I'm expecting price to do is, yes, it's already doing it. We come down lower, take out this 15 minutes here, give us a market structure shift, then continue, or come and take out the overall liquidity low, the overall 15 minutes demand over here, right? Give us a confirmation, then we continue higher, because I'm expecting you to at least take out this high over here. That's our main target, right? So after sweeping the structural liquidity, it's clearly looking for more liquidity. Let me hide this so that we can see it too. It's clearly looking for more liquidity, right? So we can have this. If I consider this the overall break of structure, this is the break of structure, the market structure shift, right? Price hasn't even retraced back. We have not had a 50% retracement. As you can see, this is the 50% level. Price reached over here. After we pulled back, we didn't have the 50% retracement, and then it continued all the way up here, and now we are getting a bearish move. So price can come and take out this point as liquidity. Right? Price can come and take out this point as liquidity, since we had the overall break of structure over here, right? So you can come and take out this low. You can continue dumping, take out this low, give us a structure shift, then continue higher. So those are all things to expect. Or if you're having an aggressive move, that's when you take out this internal load and go. So yeah, I've been taking out at break-even currently, I think, from what I'm seeing. Yeah. So that's it for EU. If you have any questions, you can ask. Can I map gold? I've already mapped gold, Hafiza. I think you're late. I started with gold, but let me open it up for you. And we are just going to do a quick recap on gold, so that those who came late can have an understanding of what happened. So gold, right? We had a break of structure over here, and this is the swing break of structure, and we are having our internal pullback, right? So the pullback hasn't been completed yet, so we are expecting price to at least come and take out this liquidity high, and we have swept liquidity behind an old low. On the 1 hour time frame, we had a market structure shift after that, after the liquidity sweep of the old low. So after we swept liquidity of the old low, price gave a reaction. We came to sweep liquidity above this high, right? And that gave us a reaction to the fair value gap. We had strong momentum coming out of the fair value gap, and that's where we took our entry, with our target at the next high over here. That is, if you are me and you want to be greedy, you can take profit over here at this next liquidity point, because after price takes out a liquidity point, sorry, this is a supply order block, don't let it confuse you. After price takes out liquidity above a supply order block, above a structural high, we can get a pullback. So yeah, I think that's what gold is aiming for currently. So Hafiz, I hope you are okay. If you have any question, you can just ask. if you came late, like, yeah. If you have any question, you can just ask. Okay, she's typing. Let's see what she's going to ask. 15 minutes. Map it, please. Okay, 15 minutes. So 15 minutes. What do we have? Let's make this the normal color so that you don't have any confusion. It's even hitting my eye. So 15-minute structure. I don't think she gets all this unless I remove them. 15-minute structure, right? What do we have? Before the break of structure, we had a demand zone over here, right? Price broke out at this high. We retraced back into the demand, had a reaction, and that reaction failed. So we had a failed reaction over at this point, right? And price came to take out liquidity. After the break of structure, we came to take out liquidity behind the structural point, and that gave us a reaction. This reaction came up to sweep out liquidity over here, and that's what led to the move into the fair value gap, right? Now, how did we get this entry? We had price come into the unmitigated supply over here. We came into the supply over here, right? And what did that do? That gave us a reaction. But what did that reaction do? That reaction failed, right? We had a closure above the reaction point. So I made an example like this, drawing the current market structure, right? Right. So this level is a supply zone. This is the supply zone we have marked over here. Price came in, gave off a reaction to the downside, and then took out the high of that reaction. So that's what we call a failed reaction, right? When price reacts off a POI and fails, you can look to take your position at the closure of the POI or the entire POI. That is actually the only time I think I use POIs, right? You can take your entry. So that's what we had here. Price came in, took out liquidity above the structural level. We had a reaction to the downside, and then we had a closure above. That's where I took my entry. Stop loss below the liquidity point, and my target is either this high, this liquidity high, or the overall high. Currently I'm seeing a reaction from the supply order block. I'm expecting at least this range to hold for price to continue higher, but let's see. If we take out the range low, I might start considering to close my position, because that means price wants to at least have a pullback before we continue, right? So I feel that's it. That's the good 15 minutes chart. Yeah, the trade I took was in the Asia session around 5 a.m. GMT my time. More question. I'd like to quickly. We are done with EU, I think. We are done with EU. Yeah, we are done with EU. So what I was coming to look at next was BTC, and then we end the session for today. What if I get a short in gold, the pullback? Will it be LP trade? The trade you took, it was in the Asia session. What if I get a short in gold? Short in gold. Let me see. Will it be an liquidity? Hafiza, I don't really get your question. I don't really get your question. What if you got short? Oh, will it be low probability? The trade you took is what if I get short in the good, the pullback? You want to short the pullback? This? No, 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 no. Currently, right now, just leave it as it is. Don't try to short it because I expect it to just continue high. And for me, no trade. I don't really use sessions as long as my trade idea is there. Like if you have the market structure shape, the pullback into liquidity, momentum coming out of the zone, market structure shift, that's it. That's all I need. I don't need session timing, whatever. But although when it happens during session, that makes the move like it moves fast. Let's see, when you get your entry, this price just moves fast. So you can see this one was around 2 hours before landing open. So the moment landing opens, it just started moving fast, something like that. The session just follows my move, but it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't tell me whether to enter a trade or not. She's typing. Okay, means you don't trade session POIs. No, 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 no. I don't know anything like session POI. As long as it's a POI, it has swept liquidity. We have had our shift. I'll take my entry. I don't trade anything about POIs, session POIs. I just trade liquidity off highs and lows. After the liquidity sweep, we wait for the market structure shift on the lower time frame. If you get momentum, we take that one too. Momentum candle, engulfing. Yeah. What's session POI? Session POI is a POI that happens during session. So let's say if we are in London session and price has created a demand zone, that's called a session POI, a London session POI, right? If you are in New York session, price creates a demand zone, that's a New York session POI. Normally people don't trade POIs from Asian session because they deem it as manipulation, liquidity, whatsoever. Yeah, so many new information. Yeah, there's a lot we don't know. Even me, I've been in the game for 3 years, but there's still a lot I don't know. I still learn every day. Yeah, got it. Okay, so I think we can move on to our last pair, BTC USD. We are moving on to the last pair. So after we are done with that, I'm ending the stream. It's already been past 30 minutes. So let's quickly do that. Yeah. So daily time frame for BTC USD. If you don't trade crypto, I think you can leave because the next few minutes is just going to be crypto chat. Yeah. So BTC USD, we had a break of structure to the downside, right? This is our overall swing break of structure on the daily time frame, and we have our internal structure, which is this small structure, right? Now when we come into the internal structure, we have our internal pullback, right? We are currently having the internal pullback phase, so we are expecting price to come and take out liquidity before continuing lower. Right, now I have this over here because if we actually come and take out the overall structural liquidity, then that means the daily structure, right, the swing structure, is now also starting its pullback, right? So currently we are looking at the pullback of the internal phase, not the daily structure. But if you take out this high, then we'll start looking at the pullback of the daily structure. So I've marked that out as liquidity. Let's remove this. So yeah, we are in the pullback phase currently for BTC USD. Price is reacting off a supply order block, but just like I told you, I don't trade off order blocks. I always wait for price to take out the liquidity high before I take my move. So right now you can see we are having a reaction, right? So I'm expecting this to continue higher, take out this level, give us our market structure shift, then we continue lower. So 4 hour time frame, I think we can get the bullish structure over here. So over here we had a structural point. Price took out that structural point. It didn't give us a market structure shift. The old demand before that held, and that led price to continue higher, right? So we are having our internal pullback with small candles. You can see prices came and liquidated everything, then gave us a break of structure. So this liquidation is what tells you that price is very much likely to continue higher, to take out this high before continuing lower, or potentially start a daily pullback you are expecting. Because over here, right, after the break of structure, we haven't even had a 50% retracement. We haven't even had a 50% retracement. Price has just been continuing bullish with small breaks of structure. So this liquidity sweep was just very valid. It was expected to happen, right? So we had the liquidity sweep. Let's mark that out. Thank you very much, sir. You're welcome. We had a liquidity sweep over here, right? And that caused the break of structure on the 4 hour time frame. So now price has retraced all the way. We have had our pullback. After the break of structure, we expect the pullback, right? And that is the phase we are currently in last week. But I think this week, just yesterday, price has shifted bullish to the upside with a strong bullish engulfing candle. So we are expecting to look for buys currently. I'll mark this out as demand. When we have a large order block like this, right, you can just mark the wick of the order block, because when you go on the lower time frame, it will already be an order block, right? So what did price do after we came into the order block? Now, coming into the order block, we had supply zones, right? Since the pullback is just internal structures with supplies, right? So over here you can see we had a break of structure. Price pushed up, pushed down, pushed up, pushed down, pushed up, swept liquidity behind the old low, right? Or what am I doing? Swept liquidity behind the old low, this level over here, right? And then caused the break of structure. Now after the break of structure, what do we have? We have liquidity points above structural highs. So after a break of structure, the high above that becomes liquidity, right? So over here we had liquidity above this high. That's why I marked it out with a red candlestick, right? This red candlestick over here, because we have liquidity above that. Now what did price do? Before session we had a retracement. Wait, this candle is very suspicious. I think we pushed up before we pushed into the other block, otherwise this move shouldn't be valid. Yeah, okay, so 15 minutes makes it very clear. So yeah, break of structure, market structure shift over here, right? But we have liquidity above the old structural high, so we waited for price to come. You can see it continued higher into the supply zone, swept out the liquidity above this point. Let's make this thing clear. We swept out the liquidity above the structural high at this point, right? We had the reaction into the demand order block, and that also gave us a market structure shift. So currently what I'm looking at is this fair value gap over here. I'm looking for price to drop down into the fair value gap, then continue higher. So currently, okay, we can look for shorts. Okay, I'm actually coming to take a short entry on BTC. I think we have taken out this liquidity high over here, and we have had a sweep of this also. We have had a failure of the demand. Okay, in 1 minute the candle closes, so if you close below this low, I'll just look for short. Immediately. I'm gonna stop over here and potentially target liquidity below this point. Yeah, you can have. Oh, sorry, I'm using the wrong short two, right? I was using the long two. I place my stop loss here, my target here. At least you get a 1 to 2. Yeah, you at least get a 1 to 2. You can also have it below this level, but I wouldn't advise that. I've been stopped out like that before. So BTC USD, I'm having a position, so let me place my order. Okay, 15 seconds. The candle has not yet closed, so let's see. 15 seconds time, 10 seconds time. Yeah, it's a very good trade. We had liquidity above this level taking. So that's red. We also have okay, relaxed. I might actually not take this trade. We have a fair value gap over here, right? So price can just retrace into this fair value gap if he wants to be aggressive and continue higher. So let's see. But normally overall, I think we should have the full pullback into the fair value gap. You can't just continue. Like also, you have pulled into an old supply zone. I think. Did we tap in? No, we didn't tap in. Okay, we didn't tap in. So yeah, maybe the zone might fail. So it's a 50-50. Yeah, you can see price is just moving after we closed. It's a 50-50. If you want, you can take it. If you want, you can take it. It's a 50-50. We are looking at a 50-50 over here. You can take it with low risks. If you normally risk 1%, you can risk 0.5. If you risk 0.5 and you are okay with that, you can still risk your 0.5. For me, I'm going to be risking 0.6. 0.6. Yeah, that's what my broker allows me. 0.6. Going to be risking 0.6, targeting the liquidity low right before the fair value gap. If price moves into the fair value gaps and is giving off a reaction, I'll just close the trade, right? So if you push into the fair value gap and get a strong reaction, I might just close my trade at break even or something. But I'm actually expecting it to continue all the way down here. So yeah, I think that's it for BTC USD. If you continue all the way down lower, we will be taking our longer entry. So a sell to buy scenario for me right now. I'm having a sell to buy scenario. I'll have a wider stop loss on that because it's an overall position. I target at the high. Yeah. So this is the position I have for BTC USD. Sell and then buy. So yeah, that's it. I think if you have any question you can ask. Clem is typing. Keflem. Okay, let's see what he has to say. Please, if you have any advice for traders, I need one. Advice. Be patient. If you see a position, analyze it carefully. Check out. If you are trying to buy, check out if there's anything that can make you, the trade not work out. Like I just did right here. When I said I'm selling, but I found out the fair value gap was going to make the trade not work out. Like always try to look at both sides of the market. Don't marry your bias. Anything can happen. If you are bullish, anything can happen. You can be bullish and then all of a sudden something happens and then price goes bearish. Just accept that not everything will play out the way you want it, right? We don't know what is going to happen, but we always try and anticipate and try to predict. So Yeah, I think, yeah, and be patient. As you can see on my charts, I've written over here, be patient. So I always remember when I'm about to take a trade or something, just know that it, accept the loss. Don't be like this trade has to play out because I've done my analysis and everything. Your analysis and everything can be perfect, but the trade still won't play out. That's just how it is. Yeah, do you have any other question? Thanks. Okay, you're welcome. If there's no other question, I'll be ending the stream in the next 1 minute. If there are no other questions, I'll be ending the stream in the next 1 minute. I think today's session has been the longest session, 45 minutes, getting close to an hour. Yeah, I think there are no other questions. Yeah, almost. Okay, people have started leaving, so yeah, I think we are going to end it here. Thanks for joining. Tomorrow there will be no live session. Tomorrow is a Friday. Although I might trade, but there will be no live session. I don't like analyzing Friday price action. So tomorrow there will be no live session. We will continue on Monday at 3 p.m. Monday 3 p.m. So don't miss that one. Normally you guys miss the 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. classes because it's time zone differences and stuff. So yeah, don't miss Monday session. Okay, I'm ending the stream now. Thanks for watching. Bye.